Hi everyone, today we are going to compare distribution using box plots. We are also going to use the calculator to graph the two box plots, so get ready to unlock the power of math together. Let's dive right in. So we've got three goals when you are comparing distributions. You want to use socks, and then you also want to compare the distributions with the context of the problem, and then you also want to use comparison words like greater than or less than. Now, if one distribution is skewed and the other is symmetric, then you want to treat both as if they were skewed, and then you would compare the medians and the IQRs. So now, in this question, we've got Jessica and Miguel that earned these scores on a new computer game. So we're going to find out all our information and then construct side-by-side box plots. So let's go ahead and use the calculator and input all of our data. So the first thing we want to do is we want to record Jessica's scores in our list 1. So we're going to go to Stat and then Edit. And in L1, we are going to put all of Jessica's scores. Then we are going to put Miguel's scores in list 2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use our data and find our 5-number summary. So we're going to go back to Stat, we're going to Calculate, and then we're going to click on number 1. And we're going to start with Jessica's scores first. So in L1, and then we're going to enter until you calculate. And so here is our data for Jessica. And then we're going to do the same thing for Miguel. So we're going to go to Stat. We're going to go to Calculate, and then still option number 1. And then in order to switch, we're going to either press second and then number 2, so that gives you L2, or you can go to second and then Stat to get the list, and then click on L2 that way. And then you are going to enter down until you calculate. Here would be all of Miguel's 5-number summary. So with Jessica and Miguel's, we're going to list our information. So Jessica has a min of 30, has a Q1 of 33, has a median of 35, Q3 of 38, and a maximum of 45. When we are finding the range, we are taking the max minus the min, which would be 15. And then doing the IQR would be Q3 minus Q1, which would be 5. Now the same thing for Miguel. We have 40, we have 81, 84, 86, and 89. The range is 89 minus 40, which is 49. IQR is 86 minus 81, which is 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to construct the side-by-side box plots so that way we can compare Jessica and Miguel's scores on the same axis. So we want to go back to our calculator and we want to go ahead and graph those box plots together. Now we want to go ahead and make sure our stat plot is turned on. So you're going to click on second y equals, and then our plot number 1, we want to click enter so we can turn on our plot 1. So we're going to make sure the on has the black highlighted word on it. And then under type, you want to make sure that it is this one right here. It's like kind of a modified box plot there. So it looks like it has a couple dots at the end. On plot 1, we're going to keep L1, so we're good there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our stat plot. So second y equals, and then we need to turn on plot number 2. So let's enter, turn on plot number 2, and then again under type, you're going to make sure that it is the box plot with a couple dots after. We do need to change this X list, so we don't want L1, we want our L2. So again, you can go to second and then stat to change to L2, or you can press second and then the number 2 to switch to L2. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on Zoom, and then again, remember we're going to our Zoom stat and then pressing enter, and then you see both of your box plots. You can press trace. So right now, the very beginning, you're going to see that you have the plot 1 or L1, and this would be Jessica's information. So you have your min, you have your Q1, median, Q3, and then your max. And then you can click on the down arrow to switch to plot 2. So you have your max, you got your box here, you do have Q1, and then you have sort of the end of that whisker, which was 80. But then notice, even though your minimum was that 40, you've got your two outliers here. So 40 and 60 are your outliers compared to the rest of your box that is over here. So when we actually label, we are going to write, let's say, our scores here. We can make some lines here. If maybe I write every 10. And then we got 50. We got 60. We got 70. We have 80. You got 90. I'll make that 95 there. We're going to do Jessica's first. And so we had the minimum that was at 30. And then we went all the way to the Q1, which is about 33 here. Median. And then our Q3. So there's our box. Here's our whisker. And then you had your max, which was 45. That is the end of your whisker here. So this was Jessica. And then next we're going to do Miguel's here. We had our two outliers. So we had that 40 and 60, which was our outlier. And then all the way we had that end of the whisker at 80. And then you had your Q1, which was at 81. And then you had your median, which was 84. And then your Q3 was 86. And then your maximum was here at 89. Now we're going to look at these box plots and we're going to compare both of them with socks. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the shape. So you're actually going to notice the shape of Jessica's distribution is slightly positively skewed because, again, when we compare that, we're going to look at the median compared to the max here. So that one's slightly positively skewed. And then Miguel's, again, we're comparing his to the outliers that we had there that does skew it to the left or negatively skewed. So Jessica's distribution of scores is slightly positively skewed, and Miguel's distribution is negatively skewed. So again, make sure that you are always talking about your distribution in context of the question. Now for outliers, what you notice is that Jessica doesn't have any outliers, but Miguel had two outliers, and that was at 40 and it was at 60. When you are looking at center and spread, again, this was a skewed distribution. So we're going to talk about the median and the IQR. So for center, Miguel's median score of 84, using your comparison words right here, is much higher than Jessica's 35. And then we're talking about spread. We're going to talk about the IQR. And then the IQR both have the identical score of 5. Okay, in question number 2, we are comparing the likes on Instagram. Again, constructing a side-by-side box plot for the data set. So let's find all our information first. So we're going to go back to the calculator. Okay, so in the calculator, what we're going to do is we're going to record Ashley's data in list 1 and Ethan's data in list 2. So stat, edit, and we're going to start typing in our information here. All for Ashley in L1 and all for Ethan in L2. So once you have all the data, you're going to, again, find your 5-number summary. So stat, calculate, and we're going to start with Ashley's first in L1. And so we have all the data for Ashley here. And then we're going to do Ethan's likes, which again, stat, calc, and then L2. So again, you can press second 2 or you can press second stat and then number 2 to change L1 to L2. And we're going to get all of Ethan's 5-number summary right here. So with their data, we're going to record all of the information that we were finding. 90, 95, 110. Range we have is 79. IQR data is 12. And then for Ethan, same thing, 48, 54, 61, 73, 115. And then range, so that's max minus min. And then IQR, Q3 minus Q1 is 19. So now we're going to construct the side-by-side box plots. Again, what you can do is you can double check your stat plot. We have them both on and both are listed L1 and then L2. So what we can do is we can just go to zoom and then option number 9. And there you have your data. You can trace. So you can see that you've got one sort of minimum there, which is that outlier for Ashley's. And then for Ethan's, we have our information. Notice you don't have a whisker on the right side. And then you do have 2 outliers there at 112 and 115. So we're going to label our axis here. We can say it's Instagram likes. And then let's count up by, we'll count up by 10. 10. And then we got count up by 10, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and 110. So we're going to start with Ashley first. Ashley did have an outlier here at 31. We had our data here from our information. So that was, here is the whisker. Our Q1 was about 83. Our median was 90. Our Q3 was about 95. And then our maximum was 110. So there you have your whisker. And then for Ethan, we had, let's see, we had about, min was the one that was at 48. Q1 was about 54, then was 61. Q3 was about 73. We did not have a right whisker, but you did have 2 outliers here, like 110 and about 115. So now we're going to compare using socks. So with Ashley, the median all the way is left skewed. So we got a left skewed for Ashley, and then Ethan, median going all the way to the right. We've got some outliers there, is right skewed. So the distribution of Ashley's likes is left skewed and Ethan's likes is right skewed. We did have some outliers. Ashley had an outlier at 31 and Ethan has 2 outliers at 112 and 115. Because we are looking at center and spread and we know that our distributions are skewed, we're going to talk about the median for Ashley, and Ashley's median of 90 as comparative word here, greater than Ethan's 61 likes. And then for the spread, we're going to talk about the IQR. And Ethan's IQR is, again, comparative word here, greater than Ashley's IQR of 12 likes. Thanks for learning with me today, unlocking the power of math one problem at a time. Don't forget to like and subscribe for future notifications on pre-calc videos. See you in the next lesson.